Good day, race fans. Welcome back to another MRNN Spotlight video. These Spotlight videos are where we like to highlight members of the community, highlight tracks, highlight conversations, just kind of anything that's around racing or something that we believe in, a good cause, so on and so forth. So this time around, we got to spend some time with URL Commissioner Dak over in the Upland City Center Cafe, City Center Plaza, sorry, and out in San Francisco, right across from the gorgeous, and I mean beautiful, Capitol building out there. So we're going to go ahead and get you off to the highlights, and we're going to talk to Dak about now that you have a Metaventure racetrack, what are you going to do with it? And here we go.
So today we're going to be doing our end of year, I guess you can say AMA, Ask Me Anything. And we're going to be talking about tracks and Metaventures, or track Metaventures, and how you can maximize the return on the Metaventure, ideas for really kind of taking your Metaventure to the next level. And then in particular, we're going to talk about community racing, why that's important to track owners. And we'll also talk a little bit about the URL official world rankings leaderboard, and how you can actually use that to maximize your engagement on your tracks. And then I'm going to bring in more Cheese, to talk about what she's doing with Cheese Breeze in the Bronx. She had some really interesting ideas on how to engage drivers and competition. And so I thought that was really kind of cool. And then we have Elijah, who has been a big time community builder from the get-go, an early believer in the URL, and has done some great work with the Real Node LA. And so we're going to talk to him a little bit about all that. And then we'll also open it up for questions from the audience, and they can be directed to anyone who's here and present. You know, we have Mass Chef here as well, and he can talk about what he's doing with Castle Run and Citadel Elite Racing and so forth. So there's a lot of people here that can talk a little bit about racing and how to kind of take advantage of racing in Upland. All right. With that being said and the intro out of the way, I'm going to get started and start talking a little bit about community racing and why does the URL talk so much about community racing? Why do we see it as important? What do we do with it? Why you as a track owner should really care about racing and community racing. So an element of Upland that I think we are all familiar with is the idea that we do very well as a community, and by being able to support each other, we're actually able to kind of do better as a whole, and in some cases as individuals as well. And so with community racing, one of the value propositions there is that if we're able to engage the community in racing, get them involved, get them excited about racing as a whole, you'll be able to generate more engagement and therefore more opportunities for revenue within the Upland economy. Example of what I mean by that is the idea of being able to have racetracks and racetrack properties. And if you look at the property values of if you look at the values of properties on tracks, they tend to be higher than the general neighborhood. The other element of that is the idea of being able to have activities within a community that brings the community together. We've done the Creedmoor Race Spectacular, where the community got together to be able to do racing around Creedmoor and support a cause. We're able to see, you know, the idea of Metaventures supporting, you know, being at racetracks and being able to, one, kind of support the revenue growth of the community, but also support the track's visibility and engagement. And then finally, obviously, there's also the whole neighborhoods rating and how neighborhood ratings can be impacted by Spark, by engagement, by how many addresses have set their homes to the neighborhood and so forth. And so being able to look at racing and your track as a venue to bringing in the community and engaging the community really does help the community. But more importantly, one of the ways that you actually make revenue on a track is from staked racing. And with more and more tracks being added every week, it's going to become more and more competitive for each track to actually generate revenue or staked racing. That's where the community gets to come in and help you out. When you're able to work with a neighborhood, or when you're able to work with a node or a Discord server, and you say, okay, we're going to have a little competition, and we're going to do some kind of event, and you say, okay, and it's going to be 1,000 UpX entry fee or a 5,000 UpX entry fee, and all of those people who participate, you're getting 5% from that. You can actually have more revenue from the track than you do from the property that the grandstand sits on, kind of thing, right? So it is actually a very good way to drive more stake racing to your track if you're able to engage your community. And so working with the Discord servers, working with the neighborhood projects, working with partners and racing leagues to say, hey, we want you to use our track for racing. Those are the kinds of things that will actually help you build revenue on your track. And this is even before we get into everything else that Upland is talking about doing, like being able to put up posters and banners and so forth. One of the things I've also seen, Elijah has this, a lot of other producers have been building it, is they're starting to build map assets that are race-related decorations, right? And so those map assets will at some point also be able to be used for other elements, but they also help generate revenue for the individuals that are involved in that community and as part of that group. So there is a lot of interplay between the community, your track, and what's happening in general around the Upland economy. So definitely when you look at your track, don't look at it as, okay, hey, I have this building and I have these 4 properties on a track. Look at it as an opportunity to really engage the community, to invite partners to join with you so that you can actually generate more races that generate UpX for that metaventure. Just putting out a track will not generate you enough revenue to actually make it worthwhile. You have to go out and find a way to engage the community. Therefore, to kind of bring it back to where I started, community racing is extremely important to track metaventurists. Before we move on to the next topic, any questions on that or any thoughts on community racing and why it's important to track metaventurists? Did I say so much I drove everybody crazy? Or did I say it all and therefore there's no questions? All right. Yeah. Hello. Okay, so now I gotta get back into the circle. There we go. Oh, we are losing people. I hope Elijah comes back. Maybe his mic. I know I had to leave and come back.
Yeah.
All right. The other part of all this is I talked about community racing and how to really generate revenue from racing, you need to have stake racing. Well, that's where the URL official world ranking leaderboard comes into play. Because of the way that the mechanics of Upland's business layer and the blockchain work, the only way that we can track races that matter in terms of points and scoring is that they have to have a stake element, because that's what gets written to the blockchain. And so the tool that we're using, which was created by Buleman, is one that goes into the blockchain, reads the blockchain transactions from racing, and then provides information back to the leaderboard in terms of, you know, what place they were able to take and so forth, which is then how we assign points. As you can kind of start to make the connection, for someone to have a race that qualifies for points, they have to have a stake race. That means that if you know of individuals, or you have a community, or you're trying to get, well, that's how we're actually going to be picking drivers to race in URL in the future. That's also one of the ways that we're going to be inviting people to participate in different events. And so the leaderboards are going to actually start making a difference in terms of who are considered like quote unquote professional drivers, people who really spend time and engage in racing in Upland. And that will really kind of help drive, one, more racing in Upland, and two, kind of help URL find some of the best drivers that want to race in Upland and can put on a great show. So that's what the leaderboard kind of brings. And we have a question. Questions?
I have a question.
You have a question?
I have a question.
Okay.
My hand is up.
Jeez. Yes. Well, Ace had his hand up first, and so I was trying to get him, but then I can't hear him.
All right.
But go ahead, Cheese.
All right. So I have a different tact of racing. I'll talk about it when it's my turn, but I wanted to know if in the future, since Lizette is here, she might know, we might be able to put different places as winners instead of just first. Like, let's say the owner of the speedway can assign second place as the winner, or third or fourth place as the winner, and the owner can have power over that instead of just like kind of watching it.
So, and I know why you're asking, and I can't wait for you to tell why you're asking about that question. In terms of just straight rankings, it does go by final position of 1, 2, 3.
I get that right now, but I'm saying like the future.
I think that it would be interesting to see if you can generate alternative win conditions.
Yeah, kind exactly. Of definitely. Right. That's what it is.
In racing, traditionally, that isn't the case. So it will be interesting to see if there's a mechanic that can be implemented for that. But right now, I know the URL ranking board does not use alternative win mechanics. And I don't know if we would, only because of how the logic works. But I think it'll be interesting to see if alternative win conditions can be applied to a track.
Yeah.
Or a race.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm asking for.
Honestly, I don't know that.
I think that maybe I will write that down.
Oh, Lizette, if you're talking, I see your light lighting up, but I don't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah or no?
Yeah, we can't hear you. Oh.
I can't hear it at all.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Neither. No, I still can.
I can't hear either. Can't hear.
I think Mass Chef is spoofing us.
Hi, I'm Lizette. Cheese here. You can get that. Definitely, we'll be working on it. That was me, not Lizette. No, I know, because you're recording. I don't want the viewers. Lizette's gonna kill me.
Well, while we wait on Lizette to kind of think through or figure out her communication difficulties or technical difficulties, geez, why don't you tell us about why you would be interested in alternative win conditions?
All right, so I'm currently not using my speedway to generate income. I'm using it as a kind of add-on to my More Cheese in the Metaverse show on Fridays to do contests. And since not everybody is a great driver, most of Upland isn't, I had an idea to kind of change it up and make it more interesting and fun and funny, to do second and fourth or third and fifth, but never first and last. Oh wait, she goes, well, it's not picking up my mic. I don't know that will ever happen, Cheese, but I'll bring it up. Thank you for bringing it up. So yeah, it's just a fun way to get everybody involved who has a car. They don't have to have the fastest car, and they're able to win prizes, whether it be UPIX or map assets or what have you. But it's been really fun, and the cars are usually all together, which is nice to see. I hate it when one or two cars are all the way in the beginning and it's like, you know who's gonna win. But with this one, it's like all the cars are bunched up into a little grapevine thing, and it's just fun to see who'll take it at the last minute, because it always changes. But yeah.
And I really,
Aww. You have to stay behind someone. You have to stay behind because Shaq has that issue. She has a really fast car, and the only way for her to win is if she stays behind someone basically most of the race. Thank you.
I think I now have God mic.
You do have God mic.
Everyone can hear me.
You do have God mic.
Everyone can hear me. So,
Hey, Dak,
we're talking.
Quick thing though,
yeah.
your shoe's untied.
I could tie them together, actually.
Right.
Here.
I'm just gonna step away from you, Cheese, because that just looks so inappropriate. So, everyone, we're in the.
She just got that.
My innocent mind. You're such a dad.
Right, of course, right. For everyone, we're in the community zone. We are talking about racetracks and how you can maximize your metaventure on track. So join us in the community zone and let's talk about tracks. So right now, Cheese is talking about the Cheese Breeze and a very creative way she has of using her track to drive engagement on her show, More Cheese in the Metaverse, which actually airs on the City Center Plaza at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Is that correct, Cheese?
In the summertime, yeah. In the winter, since I'm in Arizona and we don't change, it's 3 p.m. currently until we spring forward.
Got it. I forgot Arizona is smart.
Hey, Ace is the place with the helpful hardware focus here.
Now, Chi, so when you force people to try to take second place or fourth place to win a prize, it does change the dynamic of racing. It does engage everyone because, as you said, everyone has to kind of try to stick together. Have you found it that people are engaging in that type of racing when you do it and are enjoying it?
Yeah, like it takes them a while to figure it out. Even like when I've said it a million times, they're still trying to speed into first. But once I did it a few times and now they're used to it, they're having a lot more fun and they're feeling a lot more confident. I know a lot of people don't want to race because they know they're going to come in last or something, or they're not very good at it. But this way, it's like you don't even have to be good at it. You just have to be good at trying not to come in first, which is everyone's an expert on that.
It's an excellent point in terms of it. It also forces a lot more utilization of the functionality in Upland racing with braking, with lane shifting. So maybe you want to get into a slow lane instead of always trying to hit the fastest lane, right? And so it does actually create a lot of dynamics. And then if you fall behind, someone is going to try to fall behind you, and now everyone is going as slow as possible.
Well, if they go too slow, they'll come in fifth and they'll lose.
There you go.
Or
and
sixth.
then you And then you mentioned that your strategy with your track was not to try to raise a lot of UPEX from the track at this point, that your strategy with your track was to kind of use it as an add-on engagement model for what you're doing within and around Upland.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I have my Metaventures, the Morcheese Pixel Palace, where you can find in Bronxdale, in Bronx, New York. Yeah. I have that. So like I my show is for fun. My show is, you know, I'm very pro Upland. I do have my complaints here and there, but they're you know, positive critique, and Upland does listen to that. So it's always good to positively critique when you can, because they're always making changes. They're always making things better. So it's important to know that you can say what you want, but in a very non-aggressive way. So, but this is just a way to kind of make things a little more fun and just an easier way to give things out to the community.
And I love it that you just created you found a utilization for your track, and it wasn't necessarily to make money on the track itself, but it is supporting a lot of your other ventures in and around Upland.
Yeah.
And it is also leaning heavily into community racing, which we applaud. Oh, wait.
You're laughing.
No. Oh, there you go.
Now you're praying.
Well, saying thank you. All right. So let's, with that, let's bring in Elijah for another perspective on being a track metaventurist, a Upland community builder, and a strong supporter of URL from the very beginning. Elijah, welcome. What do you tell us about how you're using tracks and what your strategy and thoughts are?
All right, what up, Dak? What up, everybody? How y'all doing out there? Yeah, just man, I'm excited about racing. Listening to Cheese talk about the cheese breeze. That's what I'm here for. This whole racing thing is exciting. We recently got approved for quite a few different designs. Actually, we got 11 more coming out. Got approved, so it's a total of like 16 different designs to tie in layer 1 with layer 2. So racing, you're gonna see just different track related 3D objects, and it's going to tie in the experience though. So it's not going to just be 3D objects for show, but you'll see we have some real cool things on the horizon with that.
And then you have a track running through the Real Node LA, and you have a lot of metaventures on it. You had a whole big plan for it. How is it starting to build into what your vision of it was when we first started versus, the reality of where we're headed in what's available today?
I think it's really starting to come together. How we used to talk about, speculate back in the day in the Upland Cafe, about how the metaverse could be. And once you kind of put your mind to it and pray and start building it, you start building out the metaverse that you were speculating about the whole time. So it's coming along real well. We're doubling back now. So the Real Node, obviously, we're in El Sereno. The whole El Sereno is the Real Node LA. That's our home. But being there, we're going to do the same events that we did previously, but enhanced. So it's kind of like our previous year, season 1 was like a outline, a rubric, the analog version of how we wanted it to be. So now we kind of just extracting the fun elements from it. Like we've had racing events where people have sponsored 3D objects and stuff like that. So we want to bring back that feeling of bringing other manufacturers to the racing events, have them send me their 3D objects, and what we'll do is during the races, we're going to be showcasing these people's objects on track side. So people will be racing along the 3D objects, and that'll just create levels of community engagement. We're looking to double back down on having you know, all of the races, the being in the theater. I reached out to Pluto TV. I don't know if they will reach back, but I certainly reached out to Pluto TV, trying to get them to work with us regarding the community theater and stuff, because we want to have that. We have a community theater, but we want it going to, we're having movie nights and it's going constantly. This isn't something that you have to pay for. As long as you KYC through Upland, you know, we want it to be available for the community.
I like it, and again, one of the key things, and you might say I'm kind of beating a dead horse, but it's the idea of community and engaging the community. As a metaventurist, the only way to be successful as a metaventurist is to ensure that you are finding ways to engage the Upland community, whether it's on Discord, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's in the cafes. You have to find ways to engage, and I highly recommend finding groups, whether it's neighborhood groups or nodes or Discord servers. It doesn't have to be a specific neighborhood kind of Discord. It could just be a generic kind of Discord. And if you're looking at racing, you know, you have Cars, you have Tolton, you have the URL, you have Detroit Rally League. I mean, there's a lot of different racing related servers out there that you can join and invite them to participate in your track. Any other thoughts, Elijah?
Absolutely, man. You're 100% right about that. The community is what makes it fun. So I think in this phase, as we begin to get used to the metaverse and acclimate it to just meeting in this VR space, then other people will start to kind of come on board. They might not necessarily want to own 1,000 properties, but they may just want to participate that night. You know, so we're going to, you know, we're making room for it to be available for the general public, and that's man, it is exciting. There's a whole lot going on. Check out, actually, if you raced, and this is a light show, but if you raced the Ithaca Run race course, you're going to see that we've done a lot of, like, it just looks beautiful, man. We have all these Genesis Week ornaments up because Upland let us put any kind of ornament you want. So it's lit up over there with just Genesis Week and all of these new track decor. So just check it out if you get a chance, man. It's a real unique, luxurious look.
I will concur. It is a very nice track. I went and raced on it a couple of times when you first opened, and you know, just to kind of get a feel for the track. It's a lot of fun, and you're right. The trackside view is pretty awesome.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah. So, I think that, you know, I covered some of the key elements. Obviously, again, reinforcing community racing, how to take advantage of the URL World Ranking Leaderboard, since we need, you know, the only way for us to track racing on the leaderboard is that it has to be staked. That really is a big boom for track owners, because if you know that there are areas where people are interested in getting themselves ranked in terms of their driving and so forth, and little by little you're going to see the ranking board up in more places, more people utilizing it, engaging in it, and so forth. It will create opportunities for track owners, especially track owners that have community engagement, to bring in that community to try to increase their information. Yeah, Metaspook is definitely killing it on the leaderboard, and it'll be interesting to see if anyone can catch him.
Hey, nobody catching him anytime soon, I can tell you that.
Well,
Hey,
or they'll have to do a lot of racing.
I bet you guys can't do that on mine. Give me money.
I actually would love to see alternative win conditions, because yeah, it would make it, like, I know right now URL, we're focused on like all out speed racing kind of functionality, but alternative win conditions would be amazing for like the Mario Kart tracks, right? I mean, wouldn't that be an amazing thing?
Yeah. Hey, Dak, you know, one thing I noticed when I was running the track, you could actually, if you get really acclimated to the track, you can run almost a perfect lap to where it's almost impossible to beat that lap. Like if you, it's almost like that movie Groundhog Day. You just keep running the track and fixing your mistakes slowly. But then once you get the perfect lap, it is so difficult to beat it. You know what I mean?
That's why I think I made what I made, because I got tired of that during that last race series of like the same people just winning all the time because they were able to practice the thing. Like, I'll come back if you spring the track by surprise.
And see, I'm the opposite. I like the perfect lap, because what it does is it isolates the new conditions that come in. Like when you're talking about wind factor variables and water factor variables.
Braking.
Yeah.
Braking, for example.
Yep. Different things like that. Then that one slight little touch will knock you out by 100th of a second. And that's when it gets real exciting, when you competing against tenths and hundredths of a second.
Yeah, and I like, and again, what I like about racing in Upland is that it's not like GTA. It's not a race simulator. It's a racing game, right? And so I love the alternative wind conditions that Cheese has put into place, because it invites more people to engage in racing. I like the idea of what Elijah was talking about and what we do in URL, where we really try to push for the pinnacle of racing kind of thing, right? But I think that they all can coexist and they all add value to the overall Upland community. So I really love all of it. I know that ACA Propi, and it's funny because a lot of the things you said, Elijah, it's exactly what he said. He's like, he practiced the track that he was running over and over and over and over until it became almost like a Groundhog Day effect. And because Mass Chef could not, it was what, 300th of a second or something like that, and that made all the difference.
Yeah, it was 300 milliseconds was the difference between his run in second place. And nobody could. It actually was 200 milliseconds, but nobody could even come close. I mean, I don't know what he was doing, but nobody could even come close to it.
Right, and you know that it was a full run because it wasn't like a minute like the other, when there's a technical error on the track. So it was just, as Elijah said, you find that perfect lane and you know how to ride that perfect lane all the way through. But to more Cheese's point, not everyone, including myself, is going to spend hours trying to find the perfect lane on a track. And then trying to do that for 8 different tracks or trying to do that for 20 different tracks, it just gets a bit much. So I like the different alternative options. And then I saw a question about snow and rain and so forth. I know that one of the things, and I think everyone has seen it, that there's all of the different attributes on the NFTs, whether it's the car NFT, the track. Well, the track is not an NFT, but the track has variables. The drivers have the cars have variables, and they've talked about the drivers eventually having variables. If you look at a track, it always says concrete, I think, or paved or something like that, and sunny day.
Paved, sunny. Yep. Right.
And part of the reason is from the very beginning, those were things that were planned on being variables, where you could have dirt, or you could have snowy, or you can have windy or rainy kind of tracks, right? So that you have to think about how you optimize it. Now, if you do start to get into something like that, well, then imagine the opportunity for side businesses that will sell different types of tires, right? Because you'll want your slicks, you'll want your wet, you'll want your different types of tires for different types of conditions, right? So there's a lot of opportunity for the business of racing to really evolve beyond just the tracks, but also to kind of create more opportunities. Any other questions or any other thoughts? Anyone else? I know we got Ace. We got a lot of people here who are pretty good at this. Metaspook. Nope. All right. Well, if there's no other thoughts or questions, that kind of wraps up the AMA that we were doing. The idea, again, hopefully, is that people understand that if you own a metaventure in general, always think about how you're going to maximize that effort, because it is effort to maintain, to take care of it, to grow it, and so forth. And that no metaventure, whether it's a racetrack, whether it's a legit shop, a B shop, whatever it is going to succeed without the support of the community. And the best way to get the support of the community is to engage in the community. So hopefully you get out there, you find servers to participate in, invite your neighbors to engage, and have fun on the racetrack.
Thanks, Dak. Thanks for putting this together and inviting me.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming out. I when I saw what you were doing at Cheese Breeze, I thought that was so good. I loved it. It just plays to my heart. So it was awesome. And Elijah, thanks for coming out. I know you've been a big supporter from the get-go, and so I've always appreciated it.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me. I always enjoyed it.
Thanks, guys. Good to see everybody.
Take care, everyone.
All right, y'all.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, so a great opportunity to sit down and, well, not really sit down, but stand up in the City Center Plaza, have a discussion with Race Commissioner Dak, and kind of help understand what to do with our Metaventure tracks. And so with that, we will catch you all next time, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the track.